course, it's really been dominated by 44 and 22. You see them right there as Kiki turns it over.
Yeah, she understands she has an advantage going into those two positions, and they can be very versatile, so to speak. One can play inside, one can play outside as well. Brink is more so to play out on the perimeter. As you can see, UC Davis runs the split action off the Princeton series as well.
And there's Sydney Burns putting in for two. Now, I know Jennifer Grossly, she's very familiar with this Stanford program. The UC Davis was actually here in postseason a few years ago. There's a corner three by Talana Lapolo. And one thing for certain is that Jennifer Gross has very high respect for Tara Vanderveer in the program. I know that those two have communicated and talked throughout the years. And actually, you know Jennifer Gross back from your coaching days as well, too. Absolutely.
And one thing that when Stanford went to the Princeton-style offense, who she reached out to was Coach Gross, who has been involved in that offense for, it seems, forever, because Coach Sandy Simpson was one of the ones that started it back in the day. And that's who I learned it from, Coach Simpson as well. And, I mean, the Princeton-style offense, you've seen both teams run a similar style, but one thing Stanford is able to add to that, they run the triangle offense as well.
You see Cameron Brink again on the putback. Brink averaging 19 and 12. Then put on 3 blocks per game as well with that. So good defense by Lapolo. A tough jumper, though, good by Evan Turner.
Yeah, you want Turner starts to percolate. She's leading the team and scoring 14.2 points per game. She has the ability to put the ball in the basket.
There's the double off Erie Offen. Talk about Turner. She averaged 15.1 a year ago, so she's up that total. And speaking of up in totals, how about Talana Lapolo? And you always love to see her hitting that outside jumper early.
And you like to see her be aggressive because she's going to get a lot of opportunities because they're doubling down from her man as Washburn went down and guarded in the post. So she's going to get a lot of wide open opportunities.
And how about this? Cameron Brink on the steal and transition. That's going to lead to a timeout from Coach Gross. Always a plus when you can have your 6'4" center, take it all the way for the layup. Stanford with the 8-point advantage right here at the timeout. We'll take a look at Cameron Brink, Hannah Jump coming out of the huddle again. Hannah Jump sitting right now tied for the Stanford record. The three-pointers made in the career at 3-11, so still waiting for that first one for her to go down and be in sole possession of it. Another note of that, too, as well, though, Doc, she's also 63 away from the Pac-12 record that was held by Sydney Weiss up at Oregon State. So it could really be a historic season overall individually for Hannah Jump in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she can definitely reach that record as well. She can get on the heater one game. If she can average 3 per game, she'll definitely be able to eclipse that record. Again, it's her perseverance, being in the program for 5 years. You see there, that may be the record right there.
For the 312th time in her career, Hannah Jump hits the three-pointer. She stands alone on top of the three-point pedestal here at Stanford women's basketball.
And I'm sure coming into the game, she wanted to get that taken care of early so she didn't have to think about it. So now she can just play relaxed and free for the remaining part of the game.
The thing about it, too, of course, we're talking about her three-point prowesses. That one's no good by Harris. You talk about all the work that she's done and she's put in. She has really rounded out to such a complete player on the offensive end. We see her now attacking. If there's a strong closeout, she'll attack with a pull-up jumper on escape dribble or go all the way to the basket. She's really elevated how she plays offensively along with that three-point prowess.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been able to add more tools in the toolbox. And typically, Jordan, what happens after your first year, you start adding incremental growth, right? So your first year when you're playing college, that's going to be your biggest growth because now you're used to playing college basketball. You understand the tempo and flow. I mean, you play college football. And then the second, third, and fourth year, what are you doing? You're adding tools to the toolbox. You're getting better. You're working on those weaknesses. And you've seen that with her because now, again, she's able to attack the closeout, escape dribble, get to the rim, mid-range game. You're starting to see the full complement of action that she does have.
You see someone else right there that's also added a lot to their game. Kiki Arioffen going 2-2 from the line. Face-up jumper, no good. A little bit of a cold spell right now for UC Davis as Stanford right now on a 10-0 run the last 2 minutes or so. And here's exactly what I'm talking about. very often even just taking that face-up jumper, something that we didn't see her do last season.
And you can see the confidence. I mean, she shot that with confidence. She felt that it was going to go in the basket. She turned and faced, reverse pivot out, was able to shoot. Even though she didn't knock it down, that's still confidence for her.
Tova Sable hits the three, and Stanford right away on the other side. There's Hannah Jump.
And that type of score, what it does, it breaks your confidence, Jordan, because, look, I score, I'm coming right back at you. So that neutralizes your bucket because now I'm able to come right back and score.
Mid-range jumper from Briashon, no good. Loscana took a tumble. She seems to be okay. Inbound pass into Brink, goes up over that right shoulder, good.
Early work down in the post, but Brink getting down, getting into her post position, nice feed.
You keep seeing that connection, Iriafen and Brink, as Loscana almost gets the steal. Every now we're going to get the over and back call. Jennifer Gross said it was tip, but the appeal won't work. But again, talking about Brink and Iriafen, you have 23 players in the country that average at least 16 points and 9 rebounds. Now, only 2 schools have more than one player doing that. Stanford has it, of course, with Iriafen and Brink, and then, of course, you have LSU with Anissa Morrow and Angel Reese. So, again, you just talk about the synergy that they have playing with each other as well. You see how well they can pass into each other. As can make it. She follows up her own shot, good hustle, and gets to the Loscana for 2.
Yeah, getting back to that point, what you find is that they have chemistry with one another, and they know both their strengths and weaknesses, and they play towards that.
There's one thing you and we've talked about is another 3 is good by Sable. One thing we always talk about, the long-lost art of the entry pass, right? And here you are, you have a Stanford team where their bigs are the ones that actually can get it to each other in that regard.
Well, because once you are able to get the ball inside in a favorable position, it allows the post player to score or get them in position to score. You're talking about it's the lost art. You can do the chest pass. You can see Brink there off the glass with the opportunity here. She'll have free throws, but it is a lost art. It's something that is not practiced too often, but it doesn't surprise me the teams you're talking about look at their records, right? Because, I mean, they understand the importance of playing inside out versus outside in.
Jump goes 2 for 2. And, of course, when you talk about the teams, right, you're talking about LSU, who's the defending national champion, and you look at Stanford, that's always in the contention. So there's no surprise that one of the small details of it is actually performed really well by those 2 programs.
You put a lot of effort into it. Nice split action out of the away series into Princeton.
Good active hands by Stanford. Jump gets on the ground, and now Stanford running. LaPolo to Loscana, thought about a 3 for a second. Now into Brink. Now she'll pull and hit.
And you see what's happening, Jordan, is that every time they're doubling down off the post, they're doubling down off the shooter. You can see here, Boston was able to knock down the shot. Be patient. They're going to double down into the post, and you have opportunity to score from behind the arc.
Stanford now 4 for 7 on the outside. As that 3-pointer is down, UC Davis now 3 of 6. From Allie Fitzgerald. So again, you see how UC Davis is trying to attack Stanford here by going on the outside. But again, Stanford just too much inside as Cameron Brink with a strong drive.
Yeah, once you catch at the pinch post area, reverse pivot and drive to the lane in the Princeton series, there's no one that can handle her. That's an easy straight line drive to the basket.
You've just seen so many Stanford post players throughout the years. They're so good at that aggressive first step off that reverse pivot at the elbow.
It's something that they practice. That's the culture of the program. That's Brink again, the long arm of the law. But that's something that is practiced throughout. Catch at the pitch post, reverse pivot, drive to the lane. I mean, how many times and how many post players we know for Stanford? I mean, you can go down the line, All-Americans in the top of the history books as well. The ability to catch the ball at the pinch post, whether it's in the triangle or in the Princeton series, and one-on-one and drive to the rim.
Loose ball off the inbound, and Dimitri's going to pick it up. Stanford is just all in the passing lanes right now. Nothing easy. Now here's Iriafen, and case of the happy feet there, and it's going to be a travel.
Yeah, suitcase violation for her. She reverse pivot, had the right idea, just moved those puppies just a little bit for the easy call for the official.
Nunu Aguirre checking in for Stanford. Very talented freshman from Minnetonka, Minnesota. I know you are very excited to see how her career is going to pan out.
Absolutely. I mean, with her and Iriafen, I mean, you have two explosive post players that can create their own shot as well. And Laguerra's a little bit more athletic on the wings as well. She can develop that three-point shot. She's going to be a hard handle.
Shantae Iriafen, good defense, I believe. There, Allie Fitzgerald got a piece of it. Corner three, no foot was on the line from Epps. Good pass up, good active hands though. UC Davis breaks it up.
That pass could have been made a little bit higher by Clarity. That could have been an easy layup, just a little low. The defender was able to get her hand on it and deflect it to get out of bounds. I'll tell you what, Jordan, deflections is just like steals. You have to you got to reset your offense, start over. It allows you to play in a half-court set defensively.
Two screens, Clarity goes up. It was deflected. 18 on the shot clock for Stanford. And a jump alongside Kiki Iriafen, the only two starters still in for the Cardinal. Aguera to the lane, a lot of contact, and she'll go to the line.
Now, Aguera is left-handed, but she's able to put the ball on the deck, go to her right side, use the Euro step with the foul. You can take a look here. She came hard. Here is the drive to the baseline. There's the Euro step. There's the help to come over, but there's the foul. Epps was trying to get over, but she was not able to get there in time. And the foul on the floor. A couple of shots for Aguera.
First one good. I mean, we've already seen, as it is for Nunu Aguera, you've seen some of the flashes already, right? You talk about, again, the ability to go with the Euro step, dribbling with the right hand, even though she's left-handed, she makes both free throws. You've seen the range that she can shoot from. You know, it's just going to be a very exciting watch for over the next few years.
And let's take it a step further, Jordan. She's shooting 47% from the floor as a freshman. So that means she's getting shots, opportunities. 4 out of 10 times she's making her shot, basically close to 5 times, which is outstanding for a freshman.
Jump with the heave, and that will do it for the first quarter. Good offensive showing from Stanford. They put up 34 points on 57% shooting from three, 58% overall. But of course, defensively is where they really got it done as well. Only giving up 15 points to UC Davis. Back inside, Maples getting ready for quarter number 2. One thing to note alongside of that too, Doc, is again, so Stanford, the game against Gonzaga back on December 3rd, they gave up 96 points, right? That's the most of a regulation game that Stanford's given up since 1998 when they lost to Tennessee. Of course, that was number 2 Tennessee. Now, you see what's happened since then, right? They go up against Portland, you give up 51 points. Now, just 15 in that first quarter to UC Davis. Do you think maybe there's been an emphasis on defense ever since that Gonzaga loss?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, when you're playing a team like Gonzaga, top 25 team on the road, they're coming in with a lot of energy. Historically, they play you well. That's what you expect, right? I mean, you're going to have those games, but how do you recover from that type of game? And they've been able to recover well, and they understand what's going on. They know what they need to do, and that's one blemish. That's a bump in the road, but that does not say anything about the future of where this program is going.
Kiki Iriafen, again, doing her work early. Tawana Lopolo finds her for 2. You talk about the athleticism from the Stanford bigs. And it's consistently, and not even just from one player like Iriafen. You can look at any of the posts on this team. A lot of times they're going to be the first players down the floor.
Because they understand if I get there first, the DNA of Stanford is feed the post first, go inside out. But now you take a look at the lineup. You have 3 bigs. You have Aguera on the floor. You have Iriafen as well as Brink. You have length. You have athleticism on the floor. And now that bodes a problem for any team.
Aguera, pull-up jumper. It's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
And that's what she's going to continue to evolve from game 1, the first time we've seen her play, to now. You can see she's grown exponentially, and she will continue to grow as well.
38-17 in favor of the Card. Turner pumps, shoots over Brink, tough ask. There's the offensive board. Nice vision to find Turner underneath for 2. Good pass there by Victoria Baker.
Yeah, Turner, again, she understands how to put the ball in the basket. I mean, she's the top scorer, 14.2 points per game. She understands what she needs to happen, how to get the ball in the basket. And again, you got to always find her.
Yeah, reigning all Big West first team member. Again, she led the league in scoring a year ago. Another 3 is up and down. Tova Sable.
And what thing that UC Davis can do is push the ball up the floor and shoot from the perimeter, as you can see here.
Sable now has made 2 threes. Excuse me, 3 threes. Stanford working it around. Brink wants to answer, left it too strong.
And that's what Brink has kind of added a tool to her toolbox as well, able to shoot from behind the arc.
She will hit from out there from time to time. Turner trying to get herself under control. Couldn't hit. Good defense there by LaPolo. And now here comes Kiki Arioff and bringing the ball to the floor. Hands off the jump. Got it.
Nice job up at the DHO. Jump was able to get her feet set 10 toes behind the line to knock it down. Second 3. She's adding on to her record.
Must be a cool thing to say for yourself that every single time you make a 3, you're setting a new school record.
So you will always be in the history books as well.
Cameron Brink going for the steal there is going to get charged with the foul. And with that, she'll come out. So will Aguera as Dimitri and Bosgana come in.
Stanford shooting 58% from the floor. 8 from 8 from the free throw line, 5 for 9 from behind the arc. I always talk about 3 areas, Jordan, that you have to win: layups, putbacks, and free throws, and so far so good. Stanford is winning in all 3 of those categories.
And you just talked about the foul for Stanford. The thing is, they've all just been dead ball side out of bounds fouls. UC Davis, to your point, they haven't even been to the free throw line yet. So when you're able to contest layups and drives like that, just the way that Bosgana was, without fouling, that just does wonders for your defense.
And when you're a team that has long have vertical spacers in the front line, you know that I just need to play solid defense, force the players into me. And Stanford's doing a great job of moving their feet, getting position.
Pass ahead. Down by Harris's knee. She couldn't get it. It'll be a turnover. Sydney Burns coming back in, replacing Turner.
That's a nice idea on the live ball turnover. You like the aggressive nature, but you always want to make sure you get a shot to the rim, especially against the number 19 ranked in the country.
Arioff in, nice cut. Dimitri. I think that shot might have been deflected a little bit, and it's finally chased down in the corner by Sable. Now here come the Aggies the other way. Good hands by Hannah Jump, and it goes off the leg of Burns, so going the other way.
Yeah, I like to see a nice Euro step by Burns there. She had an opportunity to go Euro step, use the second side for the layup, but she decided to go a straight line drive, and Jump was able to get her hand on it to take the ball out of bounds for baseline out of bounds play.
And now the call's corrected. Initially, they pointed the other way for Stanford, but it stays here with UC Davis at 24 on the shot clock. And that's the second time this quarter we've seen Hannah Jump deflecting a pass away on an inbound.
And a nice outside hand technique. I mean, I love that when you get your outside hand up. It allows you, if they do go back door, if they go the other way, you can just pivot your head around, your hips around, and you're in a good position versus going inside hand technique.
Looked like it hit one of the fans there sitting in that front row. But you always have to be alert whenever you're that close to the action. I know you would have caught that though, right?
Absolutely.
Fitzgerald checks back into the game with it now on the right elbow. Burns runs into Sable. Now Fitzgerald trying to drive. 8, now 7 on the shot clock. That's sent away. Cameron Brink on the help defense.
Again, you can see the length inside the vertical spaces, but that play was not going to be effective simply because the spacing on the floor was not good at all. When you have players running into one another, you need to be at least 12 to 15 feet apart. They were really too close to make anything happen. There's Jump again, outside hand technique, getting her hands on it. That's her 3rd deflection that she's had so far here in the first half.
3 seconds now for the Aggies to work with. Here's the inbound to Burns. She's going to go on LaPolo. Pumps. And, of course, you think you get by one person. Guess who's there waiting for you?
So when you look at that defensive possession, what did you find? You found Hannah Jump getting deflection. So what happens? You have to take the ball out of bounds, reset your offense. Now you have 2 seconds, 3 seconds left. You go inside. There's the long arm of the law. Cameron Brink for the block.
Of course, pretty smart there, too, by Brink. She knows with only 3 seconds left, there's only so much that Burns was going to be able to do there. She now scores offensively as well. So she could help out even more than maybe what she would usually do.
That was nice action off the triangle series. And there's high-low action. The Brink was able to finish off the window.
Burns on the drive, good backdoor cut. Inside out action for the Aggies. A three, no good though by Harris. And now LaPolo with it the other way.
Nice contest for Stanford. Now LaPolo should take that jumper right there. Decide it's going to be a moving screen by Brink, but as LaPolo came across, Jordan, you see she had the little short jumper right there. Could have went to the float game, but she decided to go inside. But not taking that shot, Brink has had a foul on the moving screen because she's expecting her to shoot the basketball there.
We're going to have our under 5 timeout here in Maple. Stanford with the 21-point lead over the Aggies. Pretty cool moment that just happened here in Maples during the timeout. Hannah Jump being honored for being the record holder for three-pointers made, and also a good, cool tribute video from the previous record holder, Kiana Williams, was played over the Jumbotron here inside Maple. So a pretty cool moment there for Hannah.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's interesting. We've been doing these games the last 6-7 years, and to watch Kiana Williams, I remember her freshman year, and to see her on the screen there, it brought back memories. I remember doing interviews with her after game as a player of the game, so she was one of the better players at Stanford, a great person as well. She left her mark on the program.
And you want to talk about someone that played with energy and passion the whole time. Of course, it was so awesome to see that when she left, as there's a running hook by Kiki Iriafen. When she headed out, of course, it got to go back to her home state to win a national championship down in Texas. I know that was something that meant a lot to her, and she was very emotional in that post game. I still remember talking to quote-unquote Miss Holly, talking about Holly Rowe. So cool moment, and like you said, it was a bunch of fun watching Kiana play for all those years.
That was a nice job by Iriafen going right to left, using the glass with her left hand.
Yeah, Bria Shine just got maybe the palm of Kiki when she was going up for that shot.
Second personal, number 41.
What I liked about that, Jordan, is that she went to an open space, was created and became available for the pass, was able to get it and didn't waste any time, went up for the shot, was fouled on the shot for a couple free throws, but that shows you the maturation that she's been kind of transforming herself through in her third year in the program.
Chloe Clardy coming back in for Solana LaPolo. Kiki makes her first. It's now 9 points for her. 9 points to go along with 7 rebounds and also 2 assists. And that's one thing, too. We talk about the improvements that she's made on the offensive end. We know how great of a rebounder she is. Also, I think one thing that kind of goes unnoticed in her game is fairly solid passer.
Yeah, she's an outstanding passer as well. She doesn't mind sharing the wealth with her teammates. But I think the biggest thing that happened with her is that when Tara went to the triangle offense, because it allowed her to get into her comfort zone around the basket versus playing in the Princeton-style offense. She's now able to mature. She knows that she's going to get the basketball, and it's been pretty much a great opportunity for her this season.
Tough three on the other end by Turner was no good. Dimitri. Boscana with 13 on the shot clock. Turnaround jumper towards the baseline. Nice shot there by Dimitri.
Nice ball movement, man movement, woman more rather. Very patient offensively. Was able to get to the open shot, passed up a shot for a better shot.
49-22 now in favor of the Cardinal. Again, all 5 out for UC Davis as they cut around. Good swing pass, Fitzgerald. Looked like she took her eyes off of it and goes through her hands out of bounds.
Yeah, she was looking at where she was going to either shoot it or look for the next pass, and then she took her eyes off of it, went off her hands out of bounds. Those are those unforced turnovers that you don't like to see.
Now she goes out. Megan Norris checks back in. Clara Glad also in for UC Davis as well. And now Tova Sable will check in too. So a couple of changes.
So, Jordan, 61% from the field for Stanford in terms of field goal percentage shooting, 20 points in the paint out of the 49.
So we talked about the advantage and the different styles of plays. There's a great take by Boscana. You had Stanford that their front court is what drives them, and for UC Davis, it's kind of the flip where their back court is where a lot of their production comes from.
And when you rely on your back court in terms of production, you're shooting the ball from a longer distance. So now your percentage goes down as you see they're shooting in terms of the 36% from behind the arc. What Stanford is shooting, as we mentioned, they are 60% from the floor. 20 of their points has been made inside the painted area. So I'll take my chances with that versus a team that relies on the three.
Good job by Bosgana diving in to get the jump ball on the post. Now Guerra swings, Bosgana up top for three. Knocked down.
So again, what happens is when you double off of your bigs, they're going to leave someone open. Pick your poison. Stanford is not able to extend from the distance as well.
And another turnover.
So what's even more impressive, we talked about them shooting over 60%, 63% now, but they're shooting 60% from behind the arc. I mean, it's hard to beat anybody. They're shooting 60% behind the arc. What's that, 18 points they've made behind the arc. Look at the free throws, they're 10 for 10, and they've made 22 points in the paint. That's going to beat a lot of teams in the country.
And then another thing to note in that too, because we're talking about, obviously when we look at those numbers, you're talking about how great Stanford's doing in the paint, but also you got to talk about how well they're doing defensively in that regard as well. We already saw Cameron Brink have a couple of blocked shots. We've seen Bosgana and other wings that dive down on doubles in the post. And here's another part of the story. You look at the turnover margin. 14 turnovers now for UC Davis compared to 4 for Stanford, but also on top of that, Stanford has 16 points off of those turnovers.
Well, you're going to get a lot of opportunity. They're not turning the ball over because they're going inside. So they're able to pass on the first pass. They're extending the ball up the floor, and now their bigs are posting up early. So it's going to be difficult to turn the ball over in that situation. So they understand their strength. They're moving the basketball expeditiously down the floor, and their bigs are running the floor, doing their work early.
And the one thing wherever you see Stanford sometimes get in trouble, it's the turnover number that goes pretty high up. And then, of course, we talked about the free throws, as Erie often know. But look at Bosgana for a second chance. Tell you what, you see number 20 in white all over the court today as Erie often drives to the left for two.
So great job by Erie often again, catching the ball at the pinch post, gave a rocker step, and drove straight line drive to a strong hand to the finish.
Talking to some other people, it's about how strong Kiki Erie often is. And there's a three for Evan Turner. One of the things where you can see with her explosiveness, again, you talk about that first step, and she covers so much ground with it that she pretty much gets even with the defender right away. Of course, you know, what we used to say in football was, you know, if they're even, they're leaving. That's pretty much the case for her, too. As Turner got another good look but couldn't hit.
Man, that's a great point because, again, when she turns and faces, her length allows her to get that first step. Like you said, you're even, she's leaving. And you can see here, the rocker step to the jumper. That's beautiful offense. Yep. I love to see that from her. Patience, rockers. She turns, reverse pivot, seeing what she liked, was able to lift right over the top. Perfect form of the jump shot.
And that's what she's added this year. You know, it's pretty fun watching the Stanford team. They went up against South Carolina here last year. And that's exactly the type of shot that, of course, the great Aaliyah Boston was able to do and perfect. So now it's good to see Kiki doing that as well.
It's a shot that is, when you talk about analytics, that to me, that's a better shot because I'm getting close to the basket. You see there again, there's a rocker step for the jumper again. That's 2 in a row. So she scored the last 6 points.
And that one's gonna beat the buzzer. I mean, again, just take a look at this shot. There's that rocker step you talk about to get the space, and then, of course, you leave that follow-through up there.
Great job by Erie Oppen again. I mean, solid first half. You can see, again, she's added so many tools in her toolbox. 16 points, leading all scorers on the floor. Excellent job by Erie Oppen.
Halftime here in Maple, so we'll take a break when we come back. More numbers from that first half as Stanford leads 60-25. The Stanford Cardinal and the UC Davis Aggies. Stanford with the 60-25 lead. And Doc, of course, we're talking about that. You're talking about a big lead like that for Stanford. One, yes, they're getting a lot of baskets, but at the same time, a big thing and big staple of what Stanford has been in the first half and what they want to be all year has been really good defense.
Yeah, defensively, they've been able to set the tone. If you talk about turnovers, they have 18 points. They're plus 16 in terms of points off of turnovers, plus 6 in fast breaks, 6-0. But an area I like to highlight The second quarter, Jordan, 11 for 15, 73% from the floor, 2 from 3 from behind the arc, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. I mean, if you look at that situation there, they're playing pretty much flawless basketball. We talk about the 3 areas you want to dominate: layups, putbacks, and free throws, and they're doing a great job so far here as we head into the third period.
UC Davis will start off with the ball. And Sydney Burns trying to loop around and probe in that lane, but of course you know that number 22 is around there somewhere if you try to go up with it. Turner swings it. Harris is going to get the bump there from Kiki Iriafen. It was whistle for the foul.
Even though that's a foul on the floor, I love her ability to close out with a long close out where she was able to move her feet. She just was caught on a bump foul, but that shows her athleticism to get out and contest and make her drive to the rim.
Shot clock resets to 20 seconds. Your leading point getter in the first half, leading all scorers, is Kiki Iriafen, as there's a deep 3 from Sable, no good. And Kiki had 16 to go along with 7 rebounds in that first half. Meanwhile, Sable and Turner, of course, those are the 2 we talked about, the leading scorers for UC Davis. They both had 9 apiece to pace the way for the Aggies. Here's Cameron Brink going across the lane for 2.
And before that shot by Brink, 28 points between both Brink and Iriafen, now add 30. Unstoppable 1-2 combination.
Norris gives it up. 15 on the shot clock. See a lot of what they're trying to do right now, get the drive and then pivot, almost a screen if you will, to try to get an open shot. Now they finally get to the lane and putting it up and in, beating Cameron Brink to the spot of Sydney Burns.
Yeah, what they did was they emptied out the bigs, forced Iriafen to get away from the basket, so therefore there's no shot blocker. She was able to get around and score. Probably the easiest basket this afternoon for the Aggies.
Foul before the shot. Sydney Burns coming in, averaging about 4 points per game. Well, she did last year, excuse me. This year, now that up that to about 6.2. She's right there at that average pretty much with 6 points now on 3 of 3 shooting. Kiki Iriafen just too strong underneath, couldn't finish. And ball goes out of bounds to the Aggies.
Yeah, ideal opportunity for Iriafen using her left hand, second side of the rim. You can see there, was not able to finish. I'm sure she'd like to get that one back.
Just about 2 minutes in to quarter number 3. Turner gets the switch on the Hannah jump. I'm going to clear out for her. Crosses, now crosses again, a lot of dribbling. Good active hands by Brink, she pokes it away.
That's a great job defensively by Brink and Hannah Jump on-ball defense. As Turner was trying to yo-yo with the basketball, entry pass is stolen by the Aggies.
Turner swings. 3-pointer on the way is no good, off to the right by Sable. I'll say one thing that you can talk about Evan Turner, her scoring ability. One thing she's pretty good with these cross-court switch passes. You kind of swing it a little quicker, and they're getting some good looks off of it.
Yeah, she does a great job with her vision on the floor. She understands the offense. You know her teammates need to be, so she has no hesitation in getting the ball to her teammates.
See another skip pass now from Stanford. And Cameron Brink is trying to find an angle to get the shot up. She finally did and got the foul.
Yeah, Brink was able to get inside to go over her left shoulder with a right-handed jump hook. I love that, especially on the left block for a right-handed player, because you can go right to your strong hand with the left shoulder jump hook, and she has the size. There's a foul for her. She'll have opportunity for 2 free throws.
First one good from Cameron Brink.
You see the brain trust for the Cardinal thinking about their next move.
Yeah, one thing we know we talked about, of course, Hannah Jump and her pursuit, which is now successfully the all-time 3-point leader, Stanford women's basketball. You look at the wins total right now for Tara Vanderveer. She's creeping up on another milestone in that regard as well. I believe coming into today, just 8 games behind Mike Krzyzewski, of course, of Duke fame, for all-time wins leader in just basketball, period, men's or women's.
And that's royalty there because he's synonymous with his name in college basketball, the Olympic team as well. Coach Vanderveer was an Olympic coach as well, so she understands what it takes to bring home the gold. So when you get to that rarefied air, I mean, that says a lot about you and your program. Again, she's taking a look at it, very pensive look, seeing what her team can do to score here.
You know, one thing for sure about Tara Vanderveer, she will never be satisfied during a game. Always looking for ways to improve, see what the team can work on. Here's Hannah jump, pulls up for two, left a little short. I think she was a little more open than what she expected.
Yeah, she came around, tried to get downhill off the screen and kind of left it short. She didn't believe, as you mentioned, I'm going to be that wide open. There's a pass over to you, Jordan.
I was ready for it. I was right there in the shot pocket.
So another turnover again. Stanford defensively has been outstanding, and we talk about the ability to play defense without fouling, have not given up any free throws so far. I believe the last time they did that against Hawaii, the game, I think we did that game, I'm not sure. They gave up no free throws throughout the entire game. Hopefully they can duplicate that effort here this afternoon.
I'm just taking a look at Jennifer Gross, who won five straight Big West Coach of the Year awards. And I believe she's only 2 behind Mark French of UC Santa Barbara in terms of most in league history. He had 7, she's at 5.
The UC Davis program has always been competitive. Had an opportunity to play against her a few times as an assistant coach when Coach Sandy Simpson was the head coach.
Jumps 3, rims around and out. Rapolo gets it back to her. She thought about the 3 again for a second. And now Stanford will reset. Here's Brink at the elbow. Nice pick and roll action. Brink for 2.
And that's a great execution, the away offense in Princeton. They went to the single side screen and roll with jump and Brink. Nice pocket pass for the finish.
3 straight on, Bria Shine. UC Davis isn't shy about putting him up from deep. Now 6 of 17 from outside. Look, Dimitri back door.
So that's a call play in the Princeton-style offense. It's more of a theory, so to speak. I dribble at you, and if your man comes up high, you go back door. You can see there, when she's on the top shoulder, you go right back door. Nice entry pass for the finish.
Fitzgerald back into the game, shoots the 3, and misses everything on it. Goes out of bounds for Stanford.
I tell you, Joe, you may get that play once a game because it's a specific play. I'm going to dribble at you, and if your defender's at the top shoulder, your job is to go back door because she can't recover in time unless you go outside hand technique. You could probably deflect it out of bounds.
That's one thing, though, you do see, like you said, you might be able to get that play once, but that's an action that you see Stanford run consistently. So, of course, you know, they're feeling good to see that consistency pay off and you get the easy bucket.
And usually in that situation there, you make the pass with the dribble hand. So if I'm dribbling with my left hand, the pass has to be on the floor with my left hand versus coming back to my right.
13 on the shot clock. Hannah with it up top. Now Dimitri outside the Brink. 6, now 5. She'll pull up for 3. Hit it.
And that's beautiful offense. But again, Jordan, they went to the same set again, outside hand. But what happened was the post up, she didn't go all the way through, went to the post up, kicked it back out, and Brink was able to knock it down from distance.
Talk about all the different levels of scoring that Cameron Brink can get you from. Tough take. Strong defense there by Hannah. Jump, I guess, a little too strong. She's going to be called for the foul, sending Burns to the line.
So here's the first free throw for UC Davis this afternoon. We spoke too early as we had to break.
Yeah, when we come back, and Burns at the line for 2. With Stanford up 71-30. Sophomore guard Solana Lopolo. This had a little fun action with Lauren Green on the big screen talking about the card chemistry. A little game where you have to figure out what the phrase is that the other person has on their mind. And I tell you what, though, the way that this team is playing with each other, one thing's for sure, you can definitely tell that there's a lot of chemistry that goes on for Stanford in between the lines, too.
Yeah, you can tell they put a lot of time in their offense, half-court sets, breakdowns, as they were able to get to their back doors, their counters, off of the counter as well. Defensively, I like what I see. 11-5 in terms of defense coming out of halftime. I mean, they've been outstanding throughout the game. 50% shooting in that quarter, 4 out of 8, 61% overall, almost 62%. So they're well on their way for their 10th victory on the season.
Sydney Burns making the first free throw, the junior from Wilsonville, Oregon. Was one of 8 student athletes from Oregon to be invited to the McDonald's All-America game back in 2021. 71-32. Aguirre, Clardy, Irioffin, Dimitri, and Stavi Pakodaki for the first time this afternoon checking in. That's the 5 on the floor for Stanford.
So now an opportunity for other players to get action on the floor. And this is valuable time for those individuals as well. It's only so much you can do, Jordan, when you're in scrimmaging mode or practice. You have to go against live contact, so to speak, and this helps them grow as a team and individually.
Turner gets it down underneath now to Sable. There's the cut by Burns. Tough take. A lot of length down there underneath on the Stanford defense.
Yeah, a lot of trees, and no pun intended, but you know, we are at Stanford. But the vertical spacers down low imposes a problem for most teams.
Dimitri for 3.
So again, what you have there, Jordan, is that the person is doubling down on the strong side of the ball, and that leaves you wide open. Dimitri was able to walk in for a 3, and that's only because they're so dominant down low. Irioffin, Brink, they're so dominant you have to double because you can't handle them one-on-one, and when you do so, they're able to kick it out for the open shot.
And UC Davis, they've switched up how and when they want to double. To your point, we've seen them do it off the catch, or they waited for Kiki to put the ball on the ground. Actually looked like that was going to force a turnover, but it was a good job by Kiki to keep her balance and then find Dimitri open for the 3.
Yeah, not to panic, understand and know where your teammates are at.
Dimitri turns baseline jumper, good.
So that's 2 great plays by Dimitri. One was the 3 ball and was able to move to open space to knock down the short jumper.
She almost shot that one from behind the backboard.
It was almost a horse shot.
76-32 for the Card. Turner, we're going to have a foul there. I think Kiki Irioffin going through the Bria Shine screen.
Yeah, Turner was getting a fade screen, was trying to get activated. Stanford has pretty much held her in check all afternoon long. Came in averaging 14.2 points per game, as well below her average so far.
Sable shoots the 3, no good. She doesn't need a lot of space to get off a shot from outside to Sable. Good move very often for 2.
The ability to go quick, do her work early, drop it over her right shoulder for the finish using her offhand.
Sable drives and kicks. Now Shine gonna drive, pumps, goes up, no good with the left. Kiki clears the board.
So Shine had an opportunity. It came to the jump stop. But Jordan, you know, when she went for that shot, she went with no confidence because she knew she had the vertical spacers down low. Come to a solid jump stop, even if she just gives her a shot fake to get her up in the air, shot blocker, and she can flip it over her left shoulder. She decided to go quick because she wasn't confident she could make the shot.
Well, and that's the one thing, too, to your point about the post defense for Stanford. Obviously, yes, you can count and tally stats like blocks, but there's also the other shots that you affect just by your presence being there that you might not actually touch.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about 2 blocks so far, both by Brink, but again, you have those vertical spacers down low, so you're aware of them around the rim, but you have to be confident in your fundamentals and still stay true, do the things that you practice on, and you can be rewarded.
Great hustle by Dimitri off the missed free throw. Stanford, another possession. That's one thing, too, we've seen. They've been really aggressive on the offensive boards.
Their ability to get second shots, right? We're talking about layups, putbacks, and free throws, and it wears you down defensively. That's a nice pass, but an even more impressive catch by Aguirre with the left hand, soft around the rim, able to finish.
You want to talk about hitting a target? Chloe Clardy put that right on the money for Aguirre, again, to make that beautiful left-handed catch.
And if you look at it from a football perspective, what do they say the quarterback wants to do? Throw your man open.
Throw him open.
She threw her open, and she was able to finish. The confidence to catch it and finish.
The shot no good from Turner. Now Bozgana with it. Papadaki, she was open, thought about it for a second, but got it to Aguirre, and that slipped out her hand, so we go the other way.
I like the patience by Papadaki. She didn't rush the shot. Probably should have taken it, but felt that she had a better advantage going inside. Aguirre just was able to lost the handle on it.
And Tova Sable, a little too strong on that three-point attempt. As we're in the final minute of the third quarter. Tough pass, going to be turned over. All the way to the basket. Good strong take by Victoria Baker. And she draws the foul. I believe that was on Papadaki.
So we can look at a turnover and may blame the passer, but what she was anticipating that their player teammate come to the basketball, she didn't do that, so she was throwing the ball to a spot, and she stayed behind. The defender was able to step inside to get the live ball turnover.
So here is Baker, the sophomore from Austin, Texas, at the line, missing the first. This will only be free throw attempt number 4 on the afternoon for the Aggies. Right now they're 2 of 3 from the line. They make it 3 of 4. Stanford, on the other hand, 12 of 14. Shot clock and game clock off by about 3 seconds. Aguirre, and in the passing lane, you talk about that proper form and technique of defending a pass, but Harris misses the layup.
And those opportunities you have to be able to convert. Live ball turnover to a miss. It hurts you offensively.
Stanford with 5, now 4. Aguirre going to work. Here comes a double. Takes the shot with the left, no, and that's going to do it for quarter number 3. So for the Cardinal, they end the quarter making 4 of their last 5 field goals. One more frame left to play in Maples Pavilion. Stanford with the 80-33 lead over UC Davis. Another strong quarter for Stanford where they go 8 of 13 from the floor, including 2 or 3 from outside the arc. And again, they hold UC Davis to just 2 of 12 shooting in that third quarter.
Yeah, and they were 1 for 10, UC Davis, in their last 10 shots. So defensively, outstanding job. And I'm sure this is the lineup we're going to see close out the game as well. There's no need to play your starters at this point. Give your other players opportunities because you're going to need them later on in the season.
Aguirre, Clardy, Bozgana, Dimitri, and Papadaki in for Stanford. You saw the bench. They want Stavi to get that shot off. Now she will, and it's off back iron.
I like the baseline drive with the drift as well. Nice man movement and ball movement. Everyone touched the basketball. Does not result in a bucket, but offensively, it looks good.
There's a DHO, and it works for 2 as Victoria Baker gets all the way to the basket.
Yeah, Baker was able to grab the DHO, as you mentioned, was able to get downhill and finish, use the window for the bucket.
Bozgana for 3, off to the right. Ball still loose, and we're going to have the foul underneath. Dimitri went for it, as did Megan Norris for UC Davis, and Norris is going to be the one that gets the whistle.
In those situations there, Jordan, you're lucky no one got hurt because Norris kind of undercut Dimitri, and that could have been an injury, but it was not. But nice hustle on a 50-50 ball.
Pass try to get into Dimitri, was going to be turned over. Baker on the run, gets it to Turner. Layup no good. Again, she was trying to use her body to stay in the way of, I believe, Papadaki there, but now Turner on the second chance. She was left open and knocks down the 3.
And she leads the team in terms of three-point shooting. Came in with 48 on the season.
And she was that leading scorer in Big West a season ago. Be right there for it once again this year.
And I've had a chance to watch her in her 4 years. And you wouldn't expect it from her because she's so small, but she's very crafty with the basketball. She's able to create her own shot, and she's able to make shots from distance as well. She has no fear in her game. And as you mentioned, she's going to be one of the best players ever to play for the Aggies.
You talk about, again, that craftiness. I wonder how much of that she learned from doing Muay Thai kickboxing.
Well, you can tell she does not fear contact as well, and she can finish in traffic. And that bodes well because if I don't have any fear, I believe I can score anywhere on the floor, inside or outside. We know she can shoot the ball from distance, but again, she's crafty enough to get into the space, and she can finish in traffic.
She did kickboxing for 5 years. As UC Davis going to make some changes here as Bria Shine comes back in for Mozzie Harris. 16 on the shot clock. There's Nia Epps, pumps, goes up, and got Kiki Ariafen up in the air.
Nice idea with the jump stop step through. She was a little bit too far outside for distance to make that, but she was able to get the foul. I like the idea. I would have liked to see her get more inside the painted area, closer to the smiley face down low versus from right inside the free throw line.
That's the sophomore from El Cerrito, California. There's a good contingency of UC Davis fans here. Of course, it's not too far of a drive going up north, but also have a good bit of a California presence and even Bay Area presence. Is Megan Norris, who we've talked about a good bit, is from right up the street in Menlo Park, went to Sacred Heart Prep, so there's a good contingency of fans here for her. Loose ball, but Stanford now back with it. Ariafen to Papadaki. Picks up her dribble, tried to swing it. That was almost turned over, and it ends up with will be. Bria Shine almost went the other way with it, but I think when she went for the deflection, it threw Aguera off, and so it went off her hands out of bounds.
So when Papadaki had an opportunity to go to a single side screen with Ariafen, if she'd have dragged her man up more, up the baseline, and then came back to Ariafen, she could have sealed her off.
There's the basket, and you can hear the crowd from Megan Norris getting the 2 points there. And again, all the Aggie faithful that are here in attendance, making sure that she's appreciated.
And here's the opportunity of the two young post players to play together. Interchangeable, so to speak.
Ghana trying to drive on Turner, and we're going to have the foul.
I tell you what, Jordan, the evolution of Ariafen is when she's going to be able to do the pick and pop. When she's able to add that to her toolbox, it's going to make it even more difficult to guard versus just a straight roll to the basket, because now you have the defender from the perimeter as well as inside. Is going to open up her game even more. I'm sure that's something they're going to work on with her, the ability to pick and pop as well.
And something tells me, again, we've seen her use that reverse pivot short corner jumper. So something tells me it might not be far away.
Yeah, I would imagine that's something they're going to work on. I'm sure if they go to film sessions as well, they can kind of show, hey, if you can, on this PNR right here, if you can pick and pop, that's going to allow you to shoot the ball because your big may not come out. And then you're going to have a nice open shot as well.
Ghana went 2 for 2 at the line. And there's a deflection on that entry pass. Clardy gets it, looks up, good pass. Reward the bigs for running the floor. Ariafen for 2.
Again, rim running is so important for bigs. The advanced pass up the floor for the easy layup. Clarity with her head up, chin up, was able to finish the pass down low to Ariafen, and she was able to finish. And Ariafen is using both hands, right hand, left hand. It doesn't matter where she's lining up. She has confidence that she can finish with either hand around the basket. Very ambidextrous.
Speaking of finishing, great inside hand layup by Nia Epps. You always got to find ways to beat shot blockers, and that's one way to do so. There's a good pass backdoor of Ghana for 2.
So there's some split action. Nice job, Dimitri, finding her teammate for the easy layup.
Jumper from Epps, no good. Starting in the lane. Outside Dimitri, thought about the three. Pulls up for two. What a pretty looking jump shot.
Dimitri was able to come across in the pass from Clarity. She drove in. Clarity kind of emptied back down to replace her for the jumper, Dimitri.
We'll take a timeout here by Jennifer Gross. When we come back, about 5 minutes left in this one, and we'll talk about some of Stanford's upcoming schedule because Pac-12 play is about to start soon. 5:26 left to go. Stanford the 88-42 lead. As Lauren Green now checking in for Stanford. So everyone now that is dressed today for Stanford is checked into the game. There's no Courtney Ogden or Janiyah Harriel. They didn't suit up today. Overall for Stanford, next time they'll be suiting up. It'll be in 9 days as they go up against the rivals, the Golden Bears. There's another three from Evan Turner. So that's when Pac-12 play is going to start for Stanford on the 29th. As Aguirre goes up and in for two. And it was fun. I was talking to Erica McCall, one of the assistant coaches, and Jeanette Poland too. They were telling me, it's like, yeah, we have like a 5-day break. Like, this almost never happens during the season.
As a coach, you don't like it, but as a player, you love it.
Right, and that's exactly it.
And I'm sure they want to get back out there, right? The players said, no, give us 10 days, but coaches said, no, we need to get back out there the next day.
Turner follows her miss and puts it in for two, so she's starting to get going more so as of late. As that's now 17 for her.
So at one point she was below her average. Now she's been able to eclipse it, and that's what scorers do. They find ways to score the basketball, and she does lead the team in scoring. So, again, she'll lead as well this afternoon.
What a take by Kiki. Just couldn't get it to go.
You can tell if you look at the face, her face, she was not happy about that as well. She did everything right, but to finish with the rocker step, drive hard, straight line drive, just a little bit too strong on the glass and was not able to finish.
Another timeout, and we'll keep it here. So let's go on over some of the Stanford's upcoming games. And so they're at Cal on the 29th, and then New Year's Eve, they will finish the year out with hosting Morgan State, which we will actually have that broadcast right here before January comes around, and then they go up to the Washington schools, which, of course, Doc, if I know you've been paying attention to how the Pac-12 looks this year, it's going to be an absolutely fun conference schedule and season for Stanford and all the other teams really too when you look at who's doing what already.
Yeah, the conference is going to be extremely competitive. You have Washington State, you have Utah, you have Colorado. I mean, those four in itself is going to be a gauntlet. Then you have Oregon and Oregon State. So your first 6 games is going to say a lot on where you're going to be positioned in the conference itself. Because if you can come out of there, and if I'm looking at it from a coaching perspective, what do I want from that situation? Well, I would like to go, if possible, Jordan, I would like to go at home, obviously between Washington State, Oregon State. If I can go 3-1 or 4-0, that's outstanding. And if I can split on the road between Utah and Colorado, because there's going to be a buzzsaw going in those games. If I can come out of those 6 games 5-1, that positions me well going into the conference, because I want to make sure that I win the games at home, because I know I'm going to have to go there and finish out the season. So that's extremely important. We have to win these games at home, and I'm sure that's the point of emphasis by Coach Vanderveer and her staff.
And I mean, you look at it too, because not only do you have to go on the road after you have those Washington schools, you think about those 2 places, right? Like, obviously, Utah is a very good team, and it's unfortunate that Gianna Neatkins is going to be out for the year. But you think about Alyssa Peely and all the other talent that they have there. So not only are you playing a good team, that's a tough place to play. Then, of course, you've seen throughout the years, whenever Stanford's gone to Colorado, the Buffaloes always give them problems. And again, you look at what they're doing this year, though. I mean, when we started off this season, Colorado was already making noise because they knocked off LSU down in Vegas. So, again, another situation of tough team, tough place to play. But really, you look up and down this conference and this schedule, everywhere is a tough team and a tough place to play.
Yeah, Colorado has one of the best point guards in the country.
Yes.
So, I mean, you're going to have to deal with her in the open court. And then we're not even going to talk about you see what they have over there. So, I mean, we know what they have. So, it's going to be extremely important for the Cardinals to jump out win the games at home, you have to always hold home serve. They can win at home and go on the road at Arizona State. I would like to win 4 games at home. If I can split on the road, I'm fine. I'm 5-1 going into the next 2 games because I don't see anyone being unblemished on the road, right?
Yep.
I think you're going to split or may even lose 2 in some cases. So you have USC, UCLA. They're on the road as well. They come. So it's going to be extremely important to start off and win those first 4 games in the month of January at home.
Already shot no good. Turner trying to push, gets it out to the corner. That shot was no good from Clara Glad. The second chance now coming for the Aggies. All the way to the basket. Good strong take up and in by Tova Sable.
There were really no shot blockers in for Stanford right now, so they're able to get to the lane. Those vertical spacers down low between Iriafen and Brinke. You see Garrett getting to the rim again. We've seen her earlier go baseline drive with the Euro step. She has the ability to play on both sides of the floor, left or right, use her left hand or right hand. She's going to be a hard handle as she matures into her role here at Stanford.
Garrett at the line. So after this next time that UC Davis will be in action, it's on the 28th. That'll be at UC Santa Barbara before they finish out 2023 on the 30th against Cal Poly. And then UC Riverside and UC Irvine will start January off in 2024, taking a trip to UC Davis. It's a team that's picked 3rd in the conference's preseason poll. Both of these teams actually, I believe, are picked 3rd, which, of course, you know, you talk about Stanford. It's very rare that you don't hear the Tara Vanderveer-led program not be projected to finish 1st. But, again, that's just how good this conference is. And we'll see what UC Davis can do in the Big West. Of course, they're going to have aspirations to be finishing above 3rd themselves. It's a three-pointer, again, no good. Rebound by Shine. Good active hands again. You just see there's always hands attacking the ball whenever an Aggie player is driving to the basket.
Yeah, deflections I mentioned earlier is outstanding because what it does, it forces the team offensively to reset their offense.
13 on the shot clock. Corner 3, no. Rebound, fought for, and Dimitri comes up with it. I know you talked about it before. This is, like I said, this is a very good UC Davis program. They have a WNBA player. Talking about Morgan Birch, who was drafted back in, I believe, in 2019 when Dallas picked her in the 3rd round. They were the highest seed for a Big West program since, go back to 2004 when they were a 12 seed. Back in 2021. So, and there's a lot of pride and a lot of promise too with what's going to come for Jennifer Gross in this program this year.
Yeah, they have an extremely good program. I believe it was 2010, 2011 when we played them, and they were one of the top teams in the country. They was able to go to the NC2A tournament. In fact, they played Stanford here in the 1st round. And that was the first time that I had a chance to see the Princeton-style offense up and close. And once I seen the offense up and close, the next year I went to the Princeton-style offense because I seen it was how many counters and how difficult it was to guard the offense itself. And that was my indoctrination on how good this offense is in terms of passing style of offense. And you see the Warriors use a similar style of offense. The Kings use a similar style of offense. You know, you have 5 touches on the basketball. Everyone's moving independently, and they're working as one.
Aguirre pulls up for the jumper. No good. You bring up that point talking about the Kings and the Warriors. Obviously, they have great individual players, but what makes them even so much tougher to defend? Like you said, everybody touches the ball.
Yeah, everybody touches the basketball, and it makes it a difficult guard because you have to guard 47 feet. and not versus on one side of the floor. It's easier in some cases. It's easier to guard a isolation style of offense because you know where the ball is at. In a Princeton style set, 5 people can easily touch the basketball. And we talk about this a lot when I do the Santa Cruz Warrior games. You know, why are there so many turnovers? Well, the reason why there's so many turnovers in a Princeton style offense is because everyone's touching the basketball. Yep. So you're going to have more opportunities for turnovers, but you also have more opportunities for assists as well. Not everybody is really skilled enough to really dribble and pass the basketball, so you have opportunities for turnovers as well. But again, once it's flowing, it's like water. It's like Bart. It just continues to move.
Lauren Green getting some oohs and ahs with the behind-the-back dribble in transition. Just about a minute left to go. Bagheera
1 minute remaining.
To Dimitri for 3. No, a little too strong, and now we go the other way. Nia Epps. Now Burns, she'll pull a 3, lifts it short. Good box out by Dimitri underneath.
So offensively, Stanford has not scored in their last 4 offensive possessions, but again, this game is well out of hand with a 40-point lead, and they'll move to 10-1.
Dimitri fades, left it short. It's going to go the other way. Shot clock will be off. And a final substitution for UC Davis is Allie Fitzgerald. We'll check back in for Megan Norris.
Dimitri went to the one-legged Dirk Nowitzki jump shot inside the painted area. Not able to finish, but it looked good.
Shot clock is off. See if the Aggies get up one more shot here. Burns gonna drive, good defense, poked away. Dimitri's has it. And that will do it as Stanford will dribble out the clock. Well, as we mentioned, it wasn't the cleanest of the fourth quarter, but overall a very sharp game for Stanford, offensively and defensively.
Yeah, anytime you get a 40-point lead or a 1-point lead, you want to take a lead. The goal is to be 1 point ahead of your competition at the end of the day. They're 40 points ahead today, but defensively did a great job. I'm sure they're going to look back at the film and say, hey, we did an outstanding job defensively. We limited free throw opportunities for opposition. We won the 3 areas, layups, putbacks, and free throws, and we continue to see the growth of Iriafen and Brink playing together. The strength is inside the post play, and it's coming to fruition as they have, as you mentioned, California coming up next, and then Morgan State at the end of the year, and then they get into true Pac-12 play.
So back-to-back games now for Stanford defensively that you hold an opponent to 51 points. Of course, this after the 96 that they gave up to Gonzaga. They held UC Davis at 34% from the field, including 31 from behind the line. Again, only 6 free throw attempts in the whole game for UC Davis. So when you talk about contesting without fouling, Stanford did another good job of that today.
Yeah, they're able to play 47 feet in regards to defense. They're vertical spacers down low, under